Hello, WhinyTechGuy here, episode 4, March 21st, 2012. Welcome. It's a nice, bright, sunny day here for me, where I am, and so that's making me feel pretty good. Just got a couple of items today that I want to whine about or talk about. First one is this Daisy character that has brought up this Foxconn issues with manufacturing in China, and how this controversy that he has brought about the conditions there that he reported on and said were true, and turns out that they're false. And it's become a big topic on the blogosphere the last week or so. And I just want to whine about this guy. I can believe that somebody would do this. But this guy's so desperate to find something wrong, to find something bad against mostly Apple, and he admits that he's picking on Apple because they're the leader. They're on top of the heap with manufacturing electronics right now, consumer electronics, computers, etc. And so he can't find anything real, and he travels to China, so he makes stuff up, and all kinds of people believed him. And I'll have to admit, I was skeptical about whether maybe Apple is, hiding something and doing some shenanigans behind the scenes, and I would believe that from a big company like Apple, a big corporation, would do that, and maybe even some people that are not at the top would be trying to make their company look good, and so they're making decisions and sweeping some things under the rug and maybe not being real forthcoming. And I'm really glad to find out that this Daisy character lied, because I didn't want to believe that Apple would be doing things like that. And I'm not saying that it's perfect over there. I've watched a few reports on when they've gone into the factories and seen how they live and how they work, and it's not the greatest thing, but I think it's getting better. And obviously those people want that job, or they wouldn't line up by the thousands on hiring day to get those jobs. The companies like Foxconn would have to recruit, and it would cost them more, but they don't need to do that. These young people mostly come from the small villages in China where living conditions aren't great, where their families are living in one-room houses with thatched roofs and dirt floors, and they come to the big city and work at a big factory and get paid a decent wage relatively, and are able to send money back to their families to help improve their livelihoods and their condition of living. Anyway, I know it's not perfect, but these things that Mike Daisey's reporting on, people having mangled hands from doing the same task every day for years and things like that, doesn't look like it's true, at least the instance that he talked about. And having child labor, young children, 12, 13, 14 years old, that he said that he saw coming out of the factory, which was a lie. I don't like to hear that anywhere where there's young children having to work hard like that. Should they be working and learning how to work? Sure, that's part of any child's upbringing, I believe. But to be forced into a factory to work for a wage and spend their whole day there, that's not okay. And I think those things are changing. They haven't always been great, but they're changing, and I'm glad that there's a company like Apple who is forcing change and pushing change, and they're being very forthcoming and upright, I think, about it. I could be wrong. There could be information that could come out that could sadden me, that some things that they've done, but I don't think so. I think that they're trying to be transparent and say, here's the situation. Some of it's good, some of it's not, and we're trying to work on it and fix it, because they know that type of thing is very sensitive to Americans and those living in the first world countries. They don't like to hear that. They don't like to hear that the products they're using are made by children or slave labor, or some poor person stuck in a sweatshop and making it. At least a lot of people don't like to hear that. Some people don't care, I guess. But this guy, I can't believe that he, in his posts and in his writing, he's trying to brush off these things and these lies, and he's trying to defend himself, and I hate it when people do that. It's like, dude, just own up to what you did and move forward. Just tell the truth and own up to it. You screwed up, and then move on and try and do good work. and hopefully someday your reputation will get better and you can move past it. I don't know, this is a pretty big one for him. I think he's probably pretty much screwed, but he's making it worse by trying to justify things or whatever. What a dork. The next thing, just yesterday I saw a link, went to a commercial for IE9, Internet Explorer 9, that Microsoft's put out, and I don't have a lot of love for Microsoft. Even hate could be a word that I would use sometimes, but I just think that they're ridiculous sometimes. So this commercial was kind of cool. It had good production values. It was kind of cool to watch. Kind of some pretty pictures and whatever, but if you didn't really know what Internet Explorer was or were familiar with things, you would have no idea what the commercial's about. They just had a bunch of things in nature and in the world forming the letter E. Like, we're supposed to know from that the E means Explorer and therefore means the browser that you're using on your computer, mostly Windows, since it doesn't exist on Mac anymore. I was just dumbfounded by how stupid it was and how I just don't agree with a company advertising and not showing their product or talking about the product itself. If they had shown some of those pictures, images, videos in the frame of Internet Explorer itself, since they're trying to tell everybody that it looks better and that it's a pretty browser and all of these things, then that would have been different. That would have made the whole difference for me to have seen them put that in the frame of the browser so that we can see. But they didn't do that. It was just a pretty video, and it made me think of Japanese commercials, where if you turn the sound down on a lot of the Japanese commercials that I know of from my past, having lived there and so forth, they're famous for not making any sense, especially, even if you have the sound up, sometimes they don't make sense, and you have no idea what they're advertising for. And that really this commercial made me think of that. Just kind of crazy. And their tagline, the browser you loved to hate. So they're admitting that everybody has hated this browser, trying to say that it's different now and you can come back and love it. Okay, well, maybe that'll work, but I just laughed when I saw that. I just kind of chuckled and thought, okay, guys, just let your work show for itself. And if you've really made it better and fixed it and it's a good browser, then people will come back to it. Word of mouth will spread, especially on the internet. If somebody's having a good experience with something and you can download it in a few minutes and start using it, you can bet that it'll happen and it'll go viral and whatever. So yeah, make something good for once. Just put some work into it and stop having your head 3 feet up your butts and make something good. Get that reality distortion field out of Microsoft, which it's so entrenched that I just can't see it happening. But that was really funny to me when I saw that. I don't have a PC anymore, so Internet Explorer is just kind of this thing that I remember. And to see something new, I just had to chuckle. Anyway, so my last thing today is not something I want to whine about, but an experience I had. After the iPad, the new iPad, revision 3, they're not calling it iPad 3 for whatever reason. A little bit goofy, but I understand why. They just want it to be known as the iPad. But they've got the iPad 2 out there, now the iPad, and that's a little confusing. But I guess in another year, it won't be. And they will fix the naming nomenclature and it'll be okay. Anyway, I wanted to see the iPad 3 for myself. I don't really know anybody close to me that's going to have one anytime soon. So I decided to take a trip to one of the Apple stores that just opened up here close to me that's new that I haven't been to yet. And so I went up there and checked it out. It's a Wednesday morning, right when it opened. There's not really a whole lot of people there, so I had a good 20-25 minutes to just play with it, and wow, the experience was great. I've been to Apple stores before, several all around the United States, around the western United States anyway, which is where I'm located, and the experience is always great walking in to them, which is the whole idea, and I think everybody kind of gets that. Steve Jobs did a good job of of guiding that with the people he hired and the people in Apple to make that a great experience. And for me, somebody who is very aesthetically driven and experience driven, I walk in there and it just feels good, it feels right. And I definitely felt that in this new Apple store. Felt very familiar, of course, because the Apple stores are all very much alike. And I went right to the iPad, and the new Retina display is just as good as I've been hearing. I really enjoyed playing with it. The ironic thing now that's gonna be a little bit weird and wonky for a while, maybe even a year or more, maybe even longer, is some of the stuff on there that we never noticed because the screen wasn't very good or as good, that looked fine, now looks crappy. Some of the video and some things that don't have, that don't have the high resolution graphics and UI yet, they don't look very good. And so the experience there is kind of crappy. Apple has no control over that. That's the content. And hopefully content providers will gear up and start providing better content, better graphics, higher res stuff. The higher res stuff that I was able to see was just amazing. I can't even believe that you can make a screen that was better than what we've had before, because things have looked so good on these LCD panels for so long. And the experience holding that device and using it with that screen, and I went into iBooks and read a book, a couple pages of a book, and flipped around, and yeah, it was great. I wish that I had one. I could get one soon, but unfortunately I'm not in a position to do that. So I just wanted to kind of share that experience, and hopefully one of those new iPads will find its way into my hands before too long. And I think that's all I have to say today. Hopefully I'll come up with a couple more things by next week. So that's episode 4 of the Whiny Tech Guy, March 21st. And I do new episodes every Wednesday. And I'll see you next week. Bye.